Hi, this is Mark, and I'm happy to be here today to share with you a little bit about my relationship with the beach and my history and why I feel like we should protect it. I'm coming to you from a very special place called Amagansett, New York, in Long Island. And Amagansett is actually a Native American word that means place of good water. And it was named after a small freshwater spring in the middle of our village that the Native Americans used to come to get water. But we're surrounded by water. On the north side, we have Gardiner's Bay, a very calm, usually calm, flat bay ocean that's connected to Long Island Sound. And just 2 miles away on the southern side is actually the Atlantic Ocean that comes up onto very wide white sand beaches. The pictures that I gave you are of that bay beach, and that's where I was born, just down the beach a little ways in a small cottage with my parents. That's where I spent the first year of my life, so I guess you could say I have salt in my veins, and I learned to crawl on the sand. And I spent my childhood riding my bicycle around with my best friend, exploring all the little nooks and crannies, crabbing, fishing, catching mussels, snails, and doing the things that I guess the Native Americans did many years ago to hunt and gather and survive, because you can survive off of the fish and the land here. So I love to fish, whether it was in the morning or even deep into the night. We would take our bikes and be on a dock in the dark of night trying to catch sand sharks. Even would catch fish and sell them to my neighbors, cut the heads off, slice them open, add some salt and pepper, and wrap it in tin foil for their barbecues. Maybe they ate them, or maybe they just thought it was the entrepreneurialism of a young kid, but always been connected to the sea. And then at some point I got really pulled over to the ocean side. I really like to ride the waves and boogie board and swim in the ocean, and it really helped to make me a lifelong lover of the ocean. And that's where I learned to surf and ride the waves, being a surfer. And that relationship is an interesting one. It keeps the balance in my world. But it's a different type of hobby where if you're a runner or playing tennis, you can make a certain date and a time. But as a surfer, you rely on the waves, on the wind, on the weather, on the swells for it all to come together. And it might only be a 1 or 2 hour window that the waves are good. So you have to leave all other things in your life to be able to ride those waves. And there's nothing better than being out there and sometimes having the time of your life, but also being extremely humbled by that ocean that is beyond our control. I've been able to travel around the planet to ride waves, and it's pulled me to some very interesting places, although my greatest fear is to be on a boat so far away from shore that I can't even see the land in the middle of the ocean. And maybe one day I'll be able to overcome that fear. But day by day, I go to make sure that the ocean is still there. I walk my dog in the morning and in the evening. He jumps in the ocean every single day of the year for a little saltwater infusion on his skin and then a little exfoliation in the sand. But it's very therapeutic to hear those waves crashing every single day. Why should we take care of our oceans? Well, as I walk along and see the plastics and certain things that have washed up, it's not so bad here. I think much of the waste goes out to sea, but you hear of this island of waste in the middle of the ocean the size of Texas, full of all the plastics and straws and things that we just discard in our world that come in and out of our lives that we don't have to think about later. And that makes me very sad as I have a relationship with this ocean. And you hear the stories of whales dying and turtles and them slicing them open and just finding their whole systems full of plastic. So that is always the challenge that we have as a species. Can we make a fork that doesn't last 20,000 years? Why do we need a plastic fork that lasts so long? Can we do something that's even better? So I put that challenge to you to protect our planet, protect our oceans, protect ourselves from ourselves at this crucial time. Thanks so much for having me.